So everything when I was a kid, like to everybody else, seemed fucking illogical, right? And seemed stupid because, you know, as a kid, I obviously just wanted to, I always thought, like, people always used to tell me, like, it was very illogical of what I wanted to do. And, they always just assumed I was in fucking Fantasyland. And everybody always thought, like, the problem was that I was just not logical, that I was just impractical, that I was just playing, that I was just imagining things. And my biggest problem as a child, I now know, is that it wasn't that I was playing, because I was. It wasn't that they were wrong about that. It's just I could never get anybody to take what I envisioned in my head and what I imagined to be my future and my reality as seriously as I took it. So you see how, like, because people weren't taking my fucking vision seriously, like, nobody ever, like, said, hey, Jay, okay, listen, that's a great vision. That's a great idea. Be a pro wrestler, do this, do that, like, make movies, go and become a magical being, like, whatever. These things should have been taken a little bit more seriously, in my opinion, by my parents, because now that I've always taken them seriously. Like, I was a very serious kid. I don't think because I was so imaginative, it was always dismissed how serious I actually fucking was. And because I wasn't a conformist and I didn't want to fucking conform to, like, everybody else's bullshit, like, do my homework and do my fucking book report and, conform to all that crap. Like, of course, because I wasn't into that, everybody had a problem with the way I sort of operated. But the truth was, like, I'm always very analytical. I'm very serious. I take things into account. It's just, to me, I believe that certain things are possible where other people didn't see a possibility. And as a child, I was made to feel like that was stupid. I was just playing. You're just playing. When are you going to grow up? When are you going to stop playing? And it was like, I was always so fucking confused because I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? Like, I'm not playing. They're like, you're just playing with your wrestlers and you're playing in your head and you're fucking around with your friends and playing football on the weekends and doing this. And I'm like, and you're outside fucking walking around with a stick and, like, fake fucking doing this or doing that, imagining this and imagining that. Like, when are you gonna grow up? So it's always just a bunch of bullshit, right? So I realize now that I've grown up and I've had a few years, thanks to my girlfriend, who believes in me, believes in my visions, I've realized that being the artist that I am, being the imaginative person that I am, isn't my problem. It was everybody else's problem with me to a degree because they didn't realize how seriously I took shit. So now that I'm older and, like, I take shit really seriously, people are always, like, a little fucked up about how serious I am about everything. They're like, you need to have fun. You need to go on vacation. You, like, we should go here. We should do this. And they don't realize, like, I work every minute of every day. And I'm always getting this rap from people who don't know my inner life because it's my inner life. I don't fucking share every 5 minutes of my life with people. People don't know what I do. Like, I'm always studying astrology. I'm always studying the occult. I'm always studying and reading about various things that pique my interest. I'm always trying to line my studies and my education and my personal development up with my goals and my larger vision for my life, as fantastical as it is. So I don't really reveal those parts of myself to people anymore because people don't want to hear my vision. And once you start telling people and it's not concrete, people tend to shy away. So it's kind of, it's very deflating, and it kind of kills the interaction because people are, like, either very judgy, and it makes things very awkward because I can feel that, and then I shut down, or, they just have a hard time grasping it because it's not, what they want to do. And then a lot of times I get cut off and I don't really fully get to explain what I actually feel and believe. So I can't actually explain the images in my head because images are the language of the unconscious. Like, I can't tell you, describe to you exactly like how I feel intuitively. And, this goes very deep, but I'll try to just keep it on topic here, because the depth goes into like explanations about why I should follow my intuition, actual reasoning. So like you see, there's actual reasoning as to why I should follow my intuition and not always try to back it up with logic. There's actually astrological correlation, empirical evidence gathered over, millennia, handed down through written and oral form, and, made it into my hands, and to which I've studied and applied these teachings on clients and saw the effectiveness and the accuracy of these exact same teachings that other astrologers that came before me are handing down. And now I see how in my own chart there are certain things that I need to balance and follow, and things I don't do as well, and one of them is follow my own intuition despite what everybody else says. So just to keep it brief, but yeah, so what happened was, my biggest issue as a child was that people did not give any credit to what I was saying. So when I said I want to be a practical wrestler, a professional wrestler, like as a kid, like I was 3, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I did a little bit of wrestling with Spike Dudley up north. I couldn't afford it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to work a regular job. My body wasn't where I wanted it to be. So, and the people who I was wrestling with, like, didn't take it as seriously. So, I kind of gave myself probably some excuses, and it just didn't feel right to me at the time, and I just didn't do it. I couldn't follow through with it financially either. So I kind of withdrew after like couple of months of like training with Spike Dudley up there. And yeah, I've trained with a couple of different people and wrestled at a couple of different promotions, but for very short periods of time. And I knew my body wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I think that calisthenics that I'm into now over the next few years is going to give me an options after I work the program of calisthenics and get the functionality and the strength of my body to a degree where I feel confident enough to go out and do the kind of athletic artistry that I want. And whether or not I choose to end up pursuing something like professional wrestling, we'll see. But maybe acting in some regard in my own stuff, and, we'll just see. So, yeah, it wasn't that I was illogical, it's that people didn't take me seriously. And because they didn't take me seriously, they didn't teach me how to be practical about my visions. So in my head, it was like I was rebelling against everybody who was trying to limit them, because, to them being practical meant foregoing of the vision, which meant to me there was nothing there really to work on, right? It was like, give up on your vision because it's not practical. Do your fucking homework, get a fucking job, and do something normal, because you're fucking scaring the shit out of us because you're an imaginative and visionary person. Which is like, if they're fucking got their heads like up out of the sand for 5 minutes, they'd have seen Steve Jobs, visionary, Apple, billionaire. Bill Gates, visionary, Microsoft, billionaire. Fucking John Lasseter, fucking Pixar, fucking visionary, hundreds of millions of dollars at least. I'm not sure if he's a billionaire, but these Walt Disney, visionary, artist, billionaire. You just, if they had just looked up, if I say, I'd be like, okay, well, people who end up this imaginative either end up completely fucking crazy or they end up completely fucking successful. And, I was never into trouble. I always, was able to hold my own and not get into shit, right? So it was never a problem for me. I was always good as far as like not being disrespectful and things like that. So when I say rebellious, it was just like I wasn't going to do things that made me sick to my stomach. And part of that was like having to sit inside and do fucking homework when it's 80 degrees out and there's grass to be fucking rolled around in, nature to be explored, games to be played, fun to be had. So yeah, what happens there is I now see, and I've had to struggle against the fact that, like, I'm actually a very practical person. I'm a practical person with extremely high ideals. And so what happens here is now I have to take my high ideals and make them practical, but nobody ever taught me how to do it until I'm now teaching myself. It's like I rejected education as a kid, but now I realize that people just talk to me and been like, listen, the more you study, the better off you'll get. And like your education will start to shine, right? Like, you know, once you get educated, it's like you'll be smarter about how you approach things and you'll have to work less hard. And then you'll actually be able to make your visions come true because you won't be looking for things. You won't be looking for information because you'll have already gathered it. Because I'll have already gathered it over time. So, you know, like people would have told me that you didn't need to be searching for information, you know, I wouldn't have had this problem. So, truthfully, people need to begin to wake up and realize this, that like it's if you're a visionary, if you're a video gamer, or you know, and being a video gamer doesn't necessarily mean you're a visionary or that you're impractical. It just means you like what you like. And if your high aspirations happen to be that you want to play video games, obviously in this society that's actually become a real thing, right? But you know, if your aspirations are a bit more unorthodox, like I say, you just got to go for it, right? Because obviously at the end of the day, like it's going to be, you know, what you intuitively know about yourself to be true. And the more you are yourself, like the more you'll succeed. And for me, it was just, I had to figure out, and I'm still having to figure out how to, you know, set goals and meet those goals and like do it myself, and how to structure my days and you know, how to keep my eye on the overall vision without letting the world around me get me bogged down. And it's like, sell out for $11 an hour and waste your fucking time when, you know, when you're trying to build something big, like, you know, you need every hour. People don't really understand that because they tune out, they watch TV with no purpose. You know, they go to the movies, they go out drinking. So, like, they got a lot of time outside of work. So they don't get it when you're like, I need every hour to think about this, to meditate on it, to learn about it, to grow about it. And, you know, it's always better when you are able to begin to pick apart, you know, your own process and start to see how you can start to apply your own vision to your life and your own process to go and get that vision. So yeah, it's just some stuff that was on my mind. I figured it needed to be shared. I needed to get it out. I've been playing around with, you know, some repressed stuff within myself that just is coming to the surface lately. You know, maybe a result of the fact that the moon is in Aquarius. It's like an awakening because, you know, the moon was also at this time, you know, it was squaring Uranus last night, so I had a lot of that like awakening going on. And now it's trining Mercury, so it's like maybe at this point, you know, all that information and awakening about my personality, moon, and, you know, is starting to hit my consciousness, Mercury, so my more conscious and rational mind. So yeah, that's what it is. Gotta honor ourselves. You gotta do what's best for ourselves. We can't allow ourselves to, you know, we can't allow our goals and our visions and our dreams to be shit on. And obviously I'm not where I want to be yet, but I've also pretty much only had the last couple of years to really work on myself from a place where I've had some time. I've had, you know, the ability to do it my way finally. I've had the ability to, really put in the work on things that I needed to put in the work on without the constant distractions of like people flipping the fuck out because you're not making $10 an hour flipping burgers or $20 an hour answering phones or whatever it is that people would like me to do so that I could pay my own bills and, support myself in their eyes so that people like my parents don't have to worry about shit like that. But the truth is, it doesn't fucking matter because in the long run, I'll be 10 times better off because I've already developed a skill set, that helps me to add more value than I ever have to people's lives. And it makes me more money per hour than most people I know, period. So, of course, now I don't have as many clients. So I don't make as much money yet. But it's like, at least I know and I feel good about the value that I add. And I also feel good about my own personal development. It's just, it happens slowly. It happens progressively. And you have to do it on your time. So nobody told me and taught me how to be practical about my visions and goals. In fact, people really didn't understand my visions, got upset with my lack of practicality. And it was like, I just needed to marry this practical part of myself, which is always there, with the idealistic part of myself, which really needs to be paid attention to. Because to me, that's the most important thing. It's manifesting my dreams, my visions, my ideals. And it's part of what my mission is in this life with my North Node in the 12th house of Pisces. So, just look at your life and, look at what you want to do. And don't let other people come at you with their bullshit. Because, and I don't blame anybody. Parents, anybody, I don't have any blame for anybody. Especially being an astrologer, I understand, it's extremely fucking hard to navigate your own life, let alone try to help your child navigate his, especially without this astrological information. And, I don't blame my teachers and all that shit because, like I said, coaches, how could they have fucking possibly known how to help me do all this shit? I mean, I would have liked for people to have taken me more seriously because I took everything. I still take everything I ever said as a child very fucking seriously. So I'd like people to take me more seriously. I'd like people to give me that credit to, honestly assess things. But when they don't take you seriously, you got to figure out a way to go at your dreams anyways. And people don't understand that could take 2 decades, 3 decades, but it's better to be fucking 50 and living a life at that point you really love than be 50 having worked for 20 years at shit you don't like and then realizing, fuck, I gotta start all over again. So, fuck that. So yeah, that's my little discovery and awakening, realizing that, nobody knew how to help me make my goals practical. No one. But I'm figuring it out. And I'm reading, books and assimilating people's theories and opinions and facts and ideas. And I'm reading subject matter that actually appeals to me. And, finding out that subject matter that I would have studied in school actually, would have appealed to me had I just gotten exposed to some of these ideas. So either way, I'm doing what I have to do now. And, I do have, the support of my girlfriend. I have the support of my parents. I have the support of people around me. I think having a little bit of distance from my parents and people allows them to support me a little bit more without being so freaked out by my fucking ideas. Because it's really fucking hard to get to understand me. And, it's really hard to be patient with my process. And it's just a process, a lifelong process. I'm playing the lifetime game. And right now, things don't look a certain way for people in my life, but eventually they will see that, wow, the lives I'm able to impact because I was being me, versus, the money I would have made in the interim if I wasn't me. And it just doesn't even compare. And my growth is, in my opinion, going to be exponential, and my skill sets are going to increase across, a multitude of platforms. So be you, do what the fuck you do. Don't let anybody else, spew their bullshit. And you take yourself seriously. Because, sometimes people don't realize, just how serious you are. So don't let them discredit you and discredit your visions and your dreams. And, don't let them rush your process. Take your time, work your process, do what's best for you.